Henri considered several answers. None of them were good. Senior sister Lian stood over him, with frost at the edge of her sleeve, and a question sharp enough to count as a weapon. Who taught your dead meridians to answer? The honest answer was Heaven's Ledger, which had the disadvantage of sounding insane, valuable, or both. The useful answer had to explain nothing, invite no immediate dissection, and keep Majin from deciding that a corpse was easier to manage than a witness. Han Rui coughed. It wasn't entirely tactical. Blood wet his tongue. Senior sister, he said. If my meridians know anything, they've kept it from me. Lian Qingyu looked at him for one cold second. That's an answer designed to be useless. It's all I can currently afford. Her gaze didn't soften. That was fine. Han Rui was beginning to suspect softness from her would be more dangerous than displeasure. Behind her, a man in a dark blue clerk's robe hurried out of the law hall with a bamboo slipcase tucked under one arm. He stopped at the threshold, saw the blood on the stone, saw Lian, saw Ma Zhen, and made the quick calculation of a man discovering that breakfast had become paperwork. Senior Sister Lian, he said, bowing. What matter has been brought? A threshold notice, Lian said. Outer disciple Han Rui arrived under injury. Outer disciple Ma Zhen attempted to move him away from the front record. Ma Zhen stiffened. Lian didn't look at him. Open the minor proceeding, she said. The clerk looked as if he wanted to ask whether she had authority to order that. Then he remembered who she was and chose longevity. Yes, senior sister. He touched the tall tally stone beside the bronze doors. Blackstone drank the blood on Han Rui's palm. The ledger woke. This time the window didn't slide in at the edge of his sight. It opened in front of him, broad and red-edged, neat as a statement of account. Heaven's Ledger. Host, Han Rui Prior. Account, Evan Vale. Body, broken meridians, Ashroot variant. Cultivation, mortal body, Kui response unstable. White credit, 0 red claims. 1, active black debt. 0, active claim. Majin basis, public assault under false theft and murder accusation. Witnesses, outer tally stone, law hall threshold, steward Xianxia, ration courtyard observers, emergency draw. Used, 1 breath of Deadkey backlash. Meridian tearing. Blood loss, aggravated, remaining settlement options. Blood price. Public apology, patron thread. Decline warning. Collection method affects future claim growth. Han Rui stared at the numbers longer than he should have. White credit, 0. That seemed fair. Black debt, 0. That seemed optimistic. Red claims, 1 active. There, at least, Heaven and Han Rui agreed. The clerk unrolled a narrow strip of pale paper and pressed it to the tally stone. Ink rose through the paper from nowhere, forming thin black characters. He read them and became more careful with his breathing. Outer disciple Ma Zhen, he said. The record notes public assault under active accusation. Ma Zhen's jaw tightened. This disciple is accused of murder and theft. The record also notes no formal arrest order attached to his token. Senior Brother Wei gave verbal instruction. Verbal instruction isn't an arrest order. That sentence made 3 junior disciples look at the floor. Han Rui wanted to applaud and also vomit. He settled for not passing out. Lian's eyes flicked to him. Stay awake, she said. I was planning a brief vacation. Postpone it. Very well. Tyranny had many forms. The clerk cleared his throat. Outer disciple Han Rui. Under minor proceeding, you may request injury compensation, ration compensation, formal apology, or escalation to a patron inquiry if you can name responsible instruction. The ledger's options gleamed in perfect matching cruelty. Blood price would be sensible, medicine, food, maybe enough rice to keep the body moving, maybe balm for the torn meridians if outer disciples received anything better than boiled weeds and encouragement. Public apology would give him nothing for the pain. Patron thread would be a hand through a closing door. He'd already used that metaphor once. It remained unpleasantly accurate. Decline was for saints, fools, and people not bleeding on government architecture. Han Rui looked at Ma Zhen. Ma Zhen looked back with the narrow hope of a bully realizing money might make the public part go away. That decided it. Han Rui had lived long enough in one world to recognize the price of accepting a quiet payment from a louder man. The money came with a note tied to it. This never happened. The wound healed. The story belonged to the person who paid. He needed the story. Formal apology, Han Rui said. The clerk paused. Even Leon's eyes shifted slightly. Ma Zhen stared at him. You want words? Han Rui pushed himself higher against the threshold. His left arm shook so badly the motion became embarrassing halfway through. He completed it anyway. I want recorded words. Ma Zhen laughed once. You can barely sit up. Yes, Han Rui said. That's why I asked while everyone can see it. The ledger responded. Public apology selected material compensation declined. Claim value converted to witness pressure. Settlement requirement. Debtor must acknowledge wrongful public assault and unlawful removal attempt before law hall threshold. Optional clause. Debtor may deny original theft murder accusation pending separate investigation. Proceed? Yes. No. The optional clause was clever. It left Ma Zhen room to retreat without admitting the larger frame. A man with room to retreat could be forced to move. A cornered man might bite through his own tongue out of spite. Han Rui confirmed. The clerk's paper darkened. Outer disciple Ma Zhen, the clerk said, voice thinner now. The minor proceeding requires apology for public assault and improper removal from formal threshold. Ma Zhen didn't kneel. No one asked him to. That made it worse when the tally stone hummed and the red thread between him and Han Rui tightened. Ma Zhen's face went gray. His knees hit the stone. The sound carried. The junior disciples by the doors looked up. Two servants crossing the far side of the courtyard stopped. The ration line below had thinned, but not enough. A small outer disciple at the back of the line, a girl no older than 14 with a tin bowl held in both hands, went still in the way a person went still when they understood they were being given permission to watch something they had not been permitted to watch before. A senior cultivator, 2 pillars over, coughed into his sleeve in a way that did not entirely hide a laugh. Witnesses collected themselves. Han Rui understood the appeal. He'd have watched too. Ma Zhen's mouth opened. Nothing came out. The red thread tightened again. Outer disciple Han Rui, Ma Zhen said, each word dragged over teeth. I struck you before the law hall completed record. The tally stone didn't move. Not enough. Han Rui didn't smile. It took effort. Ma Zhen's hands clenched against his knees. I attempted to move you from the front threshold without formal arrest order. The tally stone hummed once. Still not enough. One of the junior disciples by the doors whispered something to the boy next to him. The second boy clapped a hand over his own mouth. Neither was punished. No one with authority was watching anything other than the kneeling disciple. I struck a wounded man, Ma Zhen said, voice cracking under the tally stone's pull. to keep him from completing record before witnesses I did not want him to reach. The tally stone hummed harder. The thread between his chest and Han Rui's blood pulsed dark. The stone wanted more. Majin knew it, his shoulders set against it. The shoulders lost. I acted on instruction I am not prepared to name in this proceeding. A breath went through the crowd that wasn't a sound. It was the absence of any other sound. Lian Qingyu watched without expression. The clerk held the paper very carefully. Han Rui was suddenly aware that he'd chosen a weapon people in this world knew well. Face wasn't decoration here. It was currency, shelter, threat, rank, and future violence folded into one public shape. He'd taken Majin's in front of a woman Majin feared, in front of a girl with a tin bowl, in front of a senior who'd nearly laughed, in front of two boys who'd whispered, useful, expensive. Pain pulsed through his torn meridians at the same beat as the tally stone. The ledger's backlash remains untreated line had not been advice. It had been arithmetic. Majin bowed until his forehead touched the black stone. I apologize. At the back gallery's lower ward edge, a girl with a tin bowl set the bowl flat against her knee. Her grandmother stood beside her. They had walked 4 days from a lower ridge hamlet to wait at the petitioner's bench. The grandmother did not look at Majin. She looked at the lower rail. The girl kept the bowl still until the apology ended. The ledger rang. Not allowed. Inside the blood. Settlement accepted. Claim. Majin status. Settled in public record. Reward. Witness pressure. +1 Majin open violence restriction active for 30 days. Patron thread, sharpened material relief declined. Backlash remains untreated. Backlash remains untreated. Han Rui disliked Heaven's tone. Heaven didn't care. The red claim against Majin thinned, then folded into a small mark near the edge of Han Rui's sight. Settled, not gone. A receipt filed somewhere the world couldn't burn. Majin lifted his head. His eyes had changed. Before, he'd wanted to hurt Han Rui because Han Rui was inconvenient. Now he wanted to hurt him because Han Rui had made him small. There it was. First enemy. Properly minted. The clerk turned the paper toward Han Rui. Do you accept the recorded apology as settlement for the minor assault matter? Han Rui read the words. They blurred. Pain had started to eat the edges of the room. He wanted medicine. He wanted rice. He wanted a bed so badly that for one stupid second he almost missed the call center chair with its squeak and ancient coffee stain. Accepted, he said. The paper sealed itself with a black river mark. Majin stood slowly. He should have stepped back. Instead, he leaned close enough that only Han Rui, Lian, and the nearest clerk could hear him. You think this touches senior brother Wei? Han Rui didn't answer. Majin's smile came back, damaged and mean. Wei Shixiong doesn't move because an outer rat scratches him. Elder Cao's shadow falls over him, over the storehouse, over the law hall when it matters. Remember that when you choke on your apology. Majin's right hand twitched toward the inside of his left wrist. Han Rui saw the reach. He saw the sleeve pull thin over a borrowed thread. Nothing answered it. Whatever protection Majin expected, it was not coming before the morning closed. Majin understood that a heartbeat after Han Rui did. The ledger shivered. Gray thread. Not red. Not white. Something wrapped. It ran from Majin's chest through the courtyard, over the law hall roof, up the mountain toward elder pavilions hidden behind morning mist. Text formed, faint and incomplete. Patron thread sharpened. Name protection. Elder Cao Renjie. Relationship, obscured claim path, insufficient warning. Public settlement has triggered patron awareness. Han Rui looked past Ma Zhen to the gray thread climbing the mountain. So that was the ladder. At the bottom, a dead outer disciple with broken meridians. Above him, Ma Zhen, forced to kneel. Above Ma Zhen, Wei Tao, young master with clean boots and other people's hands. Above Wei Tao, Elder Cao Renjie, respectable enough that his name bent the air. Han Rui's first account had closed. The next one had opened its eye. Lian Qingyu stepped between him and Ma Zhen. Ma Zhen retreated at once. Her gaze remained on Han Rui. Medicine Hall. Is that an invitation or a sentence? A practical necessity? Those are the most frightening kind. Han Rui tried to stand and failed so completely that the world seemed to fold. Lian didn't catch him. She turned one hand, and a ring of cold air held him half an inch above the stone before his face could hit it. Kindness without contact, which was its own kind of warning. As the clerk called for a stretcher, Han Rui watched the gray thread vanish into the upper mountain. He'd bought 30 days without Ma Zhen's fist. He'd paid with medicine, comfort, and the attention of someone much worse. The ledger gave no button for buyer's remorse.